Hello, I'm back. I was gone because I had to drive to the capital to renew my visa. So, I'm staying in Guatemala a bit longer. Forever. um, okay, I had a really amazing breakthrough revelation kind of this week. But before I get into it, I do want to say, to me, it feels vulnerable to share my process because I am a feminine embodiment coach. And there's this part of me that's like, well, you're supposed to know all these things because, you see all these coaches that are like, look at all these things that I do. But to me, my intention is to show up authentically, to share my process, to share what I learned so it can help people who can relate. And to show that I don't know everything, and that I'm practicing, and this is what it's like to live a life that's dedicated to divine love and just constantly learning and growing, and this is what I do with my clients, and I'm guided, and I let myself be guided, and I'm constantly practicing falling back into trust, leaning back into trust in the guidance, and trust in the guidance that I get for my clients as well. So that's what I'm here for. To serve love. I finally retwisted my hair. Finally. Let's hope it stays. Okay, so all the cleaning people just showed up. So the revelation I had this week in my class that I'm taking with Nina Lombardo, we're coming into this part of ourselves that we feel is unlovable, that we don't show to the world. And I'm sitting here like, I worked so hard with shame and self-love, and I used to loathe myself. I'm not going to sit here and look for a part of myself that I don't love because I love all parts of myself. But I'm like, I want to do the practice. And so she suggested I work with anger because I kicked the guy that I broke up with on Monday. I had a few bursts of anger. And so I was like, okay. Because I need to learn how to artfully work with my anger in relationship. And that's the crazy thing too, is that, anger only shows up for me when I'm in relationship with a man. And so that was like really hard for me. I'm like, I'm not an angry person. I'm typically very calm and grounded, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, wow, you're blowing my mind. I'm so mad at you right now. So anyway, I'm writing about it, and I'm like really going in to find out, like, what is it? What is this part of me? Like, why am I so unable to access, like, this part of me that everyone else seems to be able to access? But I'll work with anger. So I did the practice, and I was like, And then I sent a text to one of my exes and asked him about my anger. And he said, this is so vulnerable for me to share this, but I'm doing it because I think people can relate. He said there was always this intensity about me, and it was palpable, but he never felt like we got to the point in our relationship where I could fully let it loose. And I asked him if I had let it loose, how would he have responded? And I was like, I feel that intensity in me. I mean, I can be very passionate. And then he told me about one time that it did let it loose and how it was for him. And I was like, oh my God. I remember it in my body. I don't remember it in my mind, but I remember it in my body. And as I was reading this text, this smile, this like huge smile came on my face. And it just like stayed there for the rest of the day, basically. And I just felt this like joy and pleasure and this like mischievous energy like come alive. And I was like, what is going on? And I texted the group of women in my class, and was like, oh my God, I'm like, can't stop smiling after reading this text. And it's like, this is so backwards, right? Like, why do I not feel bad? And then I realized, there is this part of me, and I never see her. I always forget about her. She comes out like, woo, crazy, and then she goes back and I forget about her. And she's basically like invisible to my mind. And that's probably why she comes out the way that she comes out. But when I think about it too, there are times where I'm frustrated, and in my imagination, there's like this crazy, wild woman that's just like hair flying, just like, ah! I'm like, oh my God, that's her in a cage. And so I was like, okay, I'm writing about her. I'm writing to Yamaya, and I'm asking like, what is this? And it's all starting to come to me as I'm writing. And then I was like, okay, let me give her a name. And then I started sitting there thinking of names, and I'm like, well, this doesn't really make any sense. And so then I was like, there's this goddess. In the Yoruba culture, this is what I read in a book. In the Yoruba culture is these goddesses. Yamaya is where I found Yamaya, and I just like instantly connected to her in my heart, and she's the goddess that guides me. And I was like, there's a goddess of storms, Shango's wife, Oya. So I looked her up. Oya, that's just her name, Oya. And I was reading about her, and I was like, oh my God, this is exactly the energy that comes alive in me. This is the energy that is alive in me, because I was writing about it the night before. And I was like, what triggers me? What triggers me? Dishonesty, injustice, and I was listing off all these things. And Oya is the most powerful goddess, African goddess, and she's like the mother protectress, the queen, the like powerful energy goddess woman who just like fights for justice and can strike you down with lightning or hurricanes or whatever. Anyway, so I did the practice invoking Oya. I didn't have to invoke her. She was just alive. She was like, I'm here. And it was incredible. It was, oh my God, it was absolutely incredible. Just this part of me that just like, I felt the wild woman in me, like the true wild woman in me really come into my world, and I felt so whole for maybe really for the first time, like very, very full in myself, and very alive, and very courageous. And I know I'm courageous. I've done courageous things, but this was like a different kind. This was like a I have been unleashed, I have been acknowledged, I am loved, I am here, and I am not going anywhere. And we're connecting now. We're connecting in love. We're going to work together, and we're going to learn how to really artfully express ourselves and be in this world. And it just feels really good. Yeah, so I'm happy to share that, and I'm really excited that happened, because I'm not like someone who suppresses my anger, but I also feel it build, and then whoosh, it's just like attack. And to me, I'm always just like, okay, that didn't go the way that I had hoped for it to go. That was not artful. That was not conscious. And just to feel her in me. And even this morning when I woke up, in my head, I heard this like, I saw that imagery of that like crazy, wild woman in my head. And I was like, I breathed her out, and I just felt her I felt this like aliveness fill my body, every part of it. and my breath became deeper. And then it was like, time to get up. And yeah, it was amazing. And I'm so excited to continue to work with her. And I'm going into a silent retreat tonight for 9 days. It's a sound retreat, which is my favorite, and I'm really excited about it. It's at home, but I'm not going to do the videos next week. So I'm just going to be in my retreat, and I'm going to be practicing with Oya, and I'll have lots of great insights and yumminess to share with you when I come back on the 21st. Okay.